brutal, without mercy. But you will be worse. Live in terror until it is done.
For Mars before Earth, there was only one warrior, the Doomslayer, and this is Doom the Dark Ages. Right, before I start, let's talk about the music real quick. Like, the music in all the Doom games are pretty good, especially so in 2016 and Eternal because of Mick Gordon, but Finishing Move took over Mick Gordon's spot, and they do a pretty good job. While it doesn't have that same hit Mick Gordon had, like, it still does the job and it's pretty good. Just listen to some of this music before we begin. Doom the Dark Ages takes place centuries before the events of Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Instead of a futuristic basis, you're thrown into brutal medieval war where kingdoms fight endless armies of hell. This isn't just another prequel, it's an attempt to create the origin story of the Doomslayer and give more background to the Doomslayer and how he became the Doomslayer. A little story recap of what happens in Doom the Dark Ages and the new DLC. In Doom the Dark Ages, when we first enter the game, we see the Makers, humans, and the demons at war, and the Doomslayer is being controlled by the Makers through a device, suppressing his memories and emotion, leaving his hatred and anger for the demons. But eventually he builds a resistance to the Maker technology and breaks free, siding with the humans, and then they wage war against both the Makers and the demons. Then at some point, new generic boss bad guy demon for the game appears, and is known as Azrag. And with the help of the Makers and the demons at his control, he attempts to gain more power through an ancient artifact, and succeeds in doing so, but because this is a Doom game, he doesn't do that for very long. But he temporarily succeeded, I guess, so there is that. Then after that, when you enter the DLC, the Revelations, you're trying to seek more demons, and you find the Demon Council. Eventually, they put up a fight, and they send you to Purgatory, which you eventually lose all of your armor and all of your upgrades from the original Doom, and you have to free yourself out of Purgatory to take the battle to the Makers and the demons again. While the combat is faster than Doom 2016, it is not as fast as Doom Eternal, because Doom Eternal has a bunch of jumping, dodging, air dashing all around, trying to stay alive while being super aggressive. Doom the Dark Ages, because it gives you the new shield saw, allows you to just block, parry, and Captain America that shit across the battlefield. And while Doom the Dark Ages adds a bunch of new toys to play with, including the equivalent of a Jaeger, you get to control the Atlan mech for a few missions. I think it's like 3 or 4 missions. While the Atlan mech isn't as fast as the Doom guy on the ground, it is pretty cinematic and pretty cool that they give you this option, but it's only here and there for a few missions. And on top of the mech, you also get to play around with a new flying dragon with jet engines strapped to the back of it. While it isn't as refined as playing as a Doom guy, it is a nice change of pace every now and then, and only occurs for like 3 or 4 missions. This seems like one of the biggest hell yeah simulators I've played recently, because like, what are we going to do for this game? We're going to make a prequel for Doom guy, and we're going to throw him in the Dark Ages, but we're going to give him a super shotgun, and it's kind of like the Dark Ages, it's kind of medieval-like, but we're going to give him all of his high-tech weapons and shotguns and stuff anyway. Just don't think about it too much. And it is a nice touch that some of the weapons and aesthetics of the game, they throw in a bunch of medieval architecture, and you get like giant nail guns, and you get a gun that crushes skulls, that fire scraps of skulls at enemies to deal lots of damage and also absorbs health. Like, it's probably one of the most metal weapons I've seen recently. Like, it is really cool. It's also extremely powerful, because when you think about it, there's 2 variants of it. There's one that has a wide angle, and there's one that has a more concentrated bullet spread. It's essentially a minigun shotgun that shreds skulls and fires at enemies. It's probably one of the coolest, most unique weapons that stands out in the game. And yeah, I realize I use that thing all the time. It's super, super strong when you actually put points into it. On top of all the new weapons, you get 3 different melee weapons. You get enhanced fist attacks, you get medieval flail attacks, and you get a medieval cursed mace of something that once you hit an enemy, sends shockwaves out that damages and kills other enemies. I did mention the spear. I'm pretty sure I mentioned the spear, but the spear feels amazing in the new DLC. And the ability to actually swap between the shield and the spear in the DLC is pretty cool too. So now you can decide like, oh, I like the spear more, or I like the shield more. So you can just swap to whatever you want. But some of the new enemies and new bosses, like, you're gonna want to actually swap between the shield and between the spear sometimes, because of some of the new hidden bosses and super bosses in the endgame. They actually made them quite difficult, and you are required to, like, swap between your shield and your spear. But during normal gameplay, you can easily just decide, like, do you want more ability, or do you want to feel like an absolute tank that can just tank anything coming at you? Final thoughts, final conclusion, wrapping this up. The game is really fun and it's really fast paced. Your ability to control the game speed and difficulty that you experience is a really nice touch. I mostly played it on normal with no HUD once I found out how clean it looked without the HUD. So I enjoyed it that way. But you can, like, amplify the speed or even slow the speed down if you're, like, trying to get clips for the game too. And while this game won't last forever, it's definitely a fun time while it does last. Like, the main story in Doom the Dark can probably be beaten in like 8 hours maybe. And that's if you, like, watch all the cutscenes and you're not trying to, like, rush through everything. And the DLC, maybe just the base DLC when you're going through the story, it's maybe like 3 hours. So not a whole lot of playtime. So unless you like to play it on, like, the hardest difficulty, you're gonna want to challenge yourself, or just manipulate game difficulty to what feels nice and feels good, it's not going to have a whole lot of replay value. But for what it's here, I actually really did enjoy what they did with the game. There's also a ton of secrets I skipped over. So if I want to, I can actually go back and try and find all those secrets, if the game is still holding my attention by then. I don't know, I'm still working on a bunch of secret hunting and beating all the endgame stuff in the DLC. But yeah, you'll probably like this game if you like Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, if you like heavy metal music while shooting demons, if you like fast-paced shooter combat, or if you like cock and ball torture. Who knows, you might enjoy this game if you like one or all of these things. Anyway, that's all for me. Thanks for watching, and peace out. Have fun out there.